What's up, guys? I'm Riven.
And I'm Talos.
We're the Studley Boys. Welcome back to another episode of the Studley News Network. This week's big topic, Microsoft acquires Zenimax Studios. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with Zenimax Studios, they're the parent companies of Bethesda Game Studios, Obsidian Entertainment, id Software, Arcane Studios, and many more. Pre-orders for the Xbox Series X and S also went up this week, and that too was a disaster, so we're going to cover that in the later half of the show. Timestamps and links will be down in the description below. Like and sub if you enjoyed the video.
And also, guys, if you do enjoy our videos, be sure to give us a follow in our Twitch. We do stream there every Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, with an occasional day here and there. But the big one, of course, is the Tokyo Game Show, which I did do a live reaction with early this morning. Super early in the morning, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, because obviously it was in Japan time zone. And we'll definitely talk about that in my disappointment with it. But regardless, we won't be talking about too much of that in this video. We're waiting for the entire showcase to kind of play out for the rest of the week. But there are some little tidbits that we do want to mention about the Tokyo Game Show in this video.
With that being said, let's get on with the news.
Let's do it. So the very first article, the big one that we're going to be discussing, of course, is Microsoft buying Bethesda for $7.5 billion.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Obviously, this came out of the blue. Like, I think it came out, I want to say Tuesday of this week. And like, I think you're the one that posted it on Facebook. It's like I thought it was a partnership. So maybe they'll do some kind of exclusive deal with like certain games. But no, they straight out bought it.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
And the funny thing too is we didn't have any like warning. There wasn't
any leaks.
Yeah, there weren't any leaks. There weren't any warnings or rumors going on in on Twitter and whatnot. So yeah, it totally came out of the blue.
Yeah, so someone definitely kept this secret like top notch. Like I'm very surprised. In today's day and age, you would think that'd be like a leak or a rumor or something, but nope, not even a rumor.
Yeah. So let's read the article real quick here. Microsoft has acquired Zenimax Media and publisher Bethesda Softworks. Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, published a letter on Xbox Wire welcoming the Elder Scrolls Fallout, Wolfenstein, Doom, Dishonored, and Quake franchises, as well as Starfield and more, to Microsoft. Spencer said the acquisition is a landmark step for Microsoft. In a news release, Microsoft said it now has 23 creative studios, up from 15, making games for Xbox and PC.
Which we'll talk about more later.
Yeah. Microsoft will add Bethesda games to Xbox Game Pass for console and PC too.
Huge.
Microsoft also intends to add future Bethesda games to Xbox Game Pass the same day they launch on Xbox or PC, specifically calling out Bethesda's game studio's Starfield.
See, that is amazing. That is amazing. We already talked about how amazing the Xbox Game Pass is, but now the fact they own Bethesda or games that fall under ZeniMax, future games like Doom, Starfield, so it adds a lot more value to your Xbox Game Pass, whether it be for the console or the PC.
Yeah, and we talked about this before. What Xbox doesn't have regarding like exclusivity, they're making up for it with the accessibility with Xbox Game Pass.
Yes.
And, what do you think about this move in general, though?
In general,
this is like a good move for gaming. Like, is this like a good move for Microsoft?
It's funny you mention that because like I feel like in a way Xbox needs Bethesda and Bethesda also needs Microsoft or Xbox specifically, because like obviously about the controversy with Bethesda with Fallout 76 and the disaster with that front, and there's been a lot of like disaster with Microsoft. Like obviously they postponed the Halo Infinite to next year.
Yeah.
Their launch wasn't as effective in terms of like getting people to like be attracted to it. And so I feel like they both parties needed each other, and the fact that they were able to combine it, that's why people are so hyped about it, because like it's not just a acquisition like a third party studio that you may or may not know about. This is a big deal. Like people know Bethesda, and the fact that they're falling under a new leadership role, because it kind of makes me interested of like what that does with Todd Howard. Like obviously Todd Howard is the CEO, but does that mean he has to drop down in his position? I wonder how the leadership ladder will fall now. I think we have an article where we talk about later about the more a little bit more of the details, but I'm very curious to see how much of a leadership role he's going to have, how much influence he has into decision making, stuff like that.
Well, I read somewhere that Microsoft was saying for the most part they're really they're going to leave the studios alone. So he may still be in charge of Bethesda, but now he'll be taking he'll be taking orders from people from above, which is Microsoft.
Yeah. And I think you brought this up as well, which is also kind of interesting. Before we recorded, now Obsidian Entertainment and Bethesda fall under the same umbrella. And before the purchase, they were kind of battling for supremacy with the Outer Worlds and Avoid, which is their next game for Obsidian, to kind of compete against the Elder Scrolls franchise. But now they fall under the same umbrella, so I find that very, very interesting.
Well, they weren't really. I wouldn't say they were really battling, but they were because
they have very similar IPs, though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, Obsidian does have its fans, and a lot of people do enjoy Fallout New Vegas, and now with the news of them being under the same parent company, people think that people are being hopeful that a New Vegas 2 or something, a part 2 to New Vegas will come out.
And just to kind of recap what you said, Obsidian previously worked on licensed games like Fallout New Vegas, Dungeon Siege 3, and South Park: The Stick of Truth.
But the key point is we're still Bethesda, Heinz wrote. We're still working on the same games we were yesterday, made by the same studios we worked for years, and those games will be published by us. Heinz added that the Microsoft acquisition will only allow Bethesda more resources to innovate and to grow, which, in my opinion, is it's a really good move because, well, for one thing, right, Bethesda's been using the same engine for their games for the longest while.
Obviously, there's been rumors of an overhaul in the engine for both Starfield as well as the upcoming Elder Scrolls 6. So the amount of resources that Microsoft is giving to them now, hopefully that will push that to more of a fruition, because obviously we talked about this multiple times that they require their engine is so old. They have so many bugs, so many issues. In my opinion, they should start from scratch and build it from the ground up, because right now it's not working, or at least it could be much better. And everyone's down for it, so we're just waiting to see it, and hopefully the upcoming games, with the help of Microsoft's funding, helps with that.
The main talking point here is it's going to be the exclusivity, whether Microsoft will make future Bethesda or Zenimax games exclusive.
Yes.
So we mentioned already. So they own Elder Scrolls, right? They own Fallout. They own Doom. They own Wolfenstein. They own Dishonored. And according to this poster here, they also own Evil Within and Prey. And they're also working on Starfield. So the question on everybody's mind is whether these games are not going to be available for the PS4 and the Switch. They're only going to be available for Xbox or PC.
Yeah, so that's definitely the big talking point. Obviously, when I was looking through some of the chats on Facebook and whatnot, that's what a lot of people were talking about. They put a meme. There was one particular meme that someone put out where there was a comment saying, "Oh, it's cool when consoles are consumer focused and whatnot." And then someone said, "Oh, Bethesda bought, or Microsoft bought Bethesda," and then the guy got that Mario Pikachu face, whatever. It's oh my god, no.
Yeah.
So the games that they love on the PlayStation or Switch are no longer potentially available for them. And but I don't know. I honestly, I feel like they're not going to make everything exclusive. What I really like about the approach that Microsoft has right now is they're very consumer friendly, meaning they want their games to be played however you want. They said it multiple times. If you ever watched Phil Spencer talk, he's always about we want you to play how you want to play. He always says that somewhere in his speech, and I feel like he's really dedicated to that. So whether you play on PC, whether you play on the Xbox console, or if you want to play on the PlayStation console, he's down for as long as you're buying their games. Because in the end, the money will still go back to Microsoft, even though Sony owns it.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. So they did say in this article that that they will be coming out to other consoles on a case-by-case basis, but we don't really know what that means. And I don't think they've actually outlined what they mean by that. There are 2 games that are currently being worked on right now by one of these companies. I think it's Deathloop, and I forgot what the other one was.
Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yes, exactly, Ghostwire. And they're supposed to be PS5 exclusives. And I believe they said that they're going to honor that agreement and make it PS5 exclusives. But
no. This article says here these will be time exclusives.
Time exclusives, yeah. So it's eventually going to come to PC and Xbox. Xbox's philosophy has always been accessibility. They're trying to make it accessible. I don't think they will make it exclusive to just Xbox. Like you said.
If anything, the biggest one I bet you will be more of a time exclusive type of deal.
Right. But at the same time, just keep in mind that they did spend $7.5 billion on acquisition of Zenimax Studios. You spend that much money, you'd want to maximize the return as much as possible. I don't know whether making the games exclusive to Xbox and PC is like the way to do that.
To be honest, I don't think it's consoles. I want to say it's buy their games.
Yeah, probably like games and Game Pass, right?
Yeah, because obviously they're also a subscription base as well. Don't forget that. So their subscription based model of having the Game Pass plus buying the games if you buy it individually. I think that's where they're trying to bake more on, and their xCloud stuff. I would assume they'll make money from that transaction as well, because they actually have to maintain those servers.
Yeah. And I read an article saying that they already have like about 15 million Game Pass subscribers. So yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, if you do the math, that's already like a couple of billion already.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely where their strength is lying right now.
We have an article later on that talks about it, but it basically they broke records with their Xbox Series X and X pre-orders.
Yeah. So it's not like people aren't buying the Xbox. People are buying the Xbox, and there is a demand for it. So.
But overall, though, like, I probably agree with you. It's probably more the game size where they're making most of the money. So, like, similar to what Phil Spencer has been saying, like, he doesn't care how you play the games; he just wants you to play the games.
Yeah. So let's move on to this next topic here. Microsoft will consider buying more game companies after Bethesda. So now this is more like a speculation. There's been rumor going around that they also want to acquire Sega as well. But I think they denied that. Sega isn't owned by Nintendo, but they do own the rights for Sega's games, and they definitely have the money to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier that $7.5 billion. They could have bought ZeniMax Media a couple of times over with that money. So, what company would you like to see Microsoft acquire?
To acquire.
Yeah. Let's take Sega out of the equation. Let's take Sega out of the equation because that's like up in the air right now. So it might happen, it might not. But what
if Microsoft gets Square Enix?
That would be kind of interesting.
Yeah. Let me see Square Enix, because Square Enix is also publicly traded.
But it's sort of tricky though, because it's a Japanese company. Like historically, Xbox has never been very popular in Japan.
Honestly, it may help their what is it called? Their relationships with Japan, because now they own a Japanese company.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, Sony's more popular in Japan. If Square Enix games are going to be available for both Sony and Xbox, I feel like they would still, lean towards Sony. They would have to make Square Enix games like console exclusive. I feel like if they really want to,
for the Xbox,
capture that market. So I feel like if they were going to purchase games, it would have to be American. I would lean more towards like Western companies. Like like maybe BioWare or something like that. Like my guess, they would probably like acquire a couple of like studios that they're probably try to get into sports. I feel like so they can have like their hand on that market.
So your thoughts is probably Take-Two then?
Yeah, no, it would have to be some sort of sports thing. That would be my guess.
Yeah, and sports is huge, and it's getting bigger and bigger every time. We talked about that in multiple videos before with the microtransaction. Obviously, as a business perspective, it's a good purchase because obviously you want to make a profit and get your return on investment. But as a consumer, it does suck that a lot of these companies are like almost, I wouldn't say monopolizing themselves, but now they're buying up these companies and like absorbing companies together. So in a way that kind of makes the consumer less in focus, I guess.
Yeah, it's less consumer friendly. Not to mention, like sports games are also they're very consistent when it comes to like making money. You know, people still buy them, so and they pay for like microtransactions. So it's definitely you know a good investment in my opinion. So before we close this, let's take a look at all the first party studios that Microsoft owns. Let's open that up.
Because now they own 23 first party studios.
Yeah. So let's take a look at
and just keep in mind they acquired 10 in the past year, I believe.
Yeah. So right now, so they own 343 Industries. So they own Halo Infinite.
Yep.
Which is definitely going to be an Xbox PC exclusive. That's always been, for sure. That's always been like the thing. Compulsion Games.
This is more of like an indie, I guess not really indie, but like definitely a smaller company. They're the ones that made a Contract and We Happy Few. So those are the big notable titles from them.
Yeah, and no upcoming games as of now. Okay, so they own Double Fine Productions. So they're responsible for Psychonauts. Psychonauts 2 is definitely in development. Which is, I don't think it's going to be an exclusive though.
Well, according to this article, Xbox One, obviously Xbox Series X, PS4, PC, and Mac. So yeah, it doesn't look like it's exclusive.
Yeah. Okay, so they have In Exile Entertainment. So they're working on Frontpoint VR Proving Grounds. VR
for game. The PC, yeah, for the PC VR.
Yeah. Of course, Mojang Studios, which owns Minecraft.
And of course, that's in every single platform imaginable.
Yeah. Ninja Theory, it's currently working on Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Project Mara.
This one might be an exclusive to the at least PC and Xbox at least.
Yes, yeah, Senua Saga. Yeah. Of course, now they own Obsidian, which owns Pillars of Eternity, The Outer Worlds, also Grounded. But they're currently working on Avowed, and I think we covered that in the Sony showcase, I believe.
Was it Sony?
No, sorry. It was the Xbox showcase, sorry.
Yeah. Because according to this article, this is going to be an Xbox exclusive, as well as PC, of course.
Yeah. So they own Playground Games, which is currently working on Fable 4.
Yep. And of course, that's a big Xbox title.
Yeah, not to mention, they've also worked on Forza Horizon 3 and 4. So yeah, like a lot of games that are being developed right now are under Microsoft. So they own Rare.
Everwild, that's the one that you were talking about before. That had that kind of
the cartoony looking kind of.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like
like Breath of the Wild field.
Yeah. So that's being developed for Xbox and PC. Coalition Games currently working on Gears
5 and Gears Tactics. So that's a big exclusive for Xbox.
Yeah. The Initiative. Recent games, none. Upcoming games to be announced. Rumors are saying that it's possibly like a Perfect Dark game.
Is it?
Yeah, but that's just rumors for now. Turn 10 Studios, which worked on Forza Motorsport, they're currently working on the next Forza game.
And of course, that's an exclusive title for Xbox too.
Yeah. Undead Labs. They're currently working on State of Decay 3. We haven't played State of Decay. We mentioned that during our Xbox coverage.
Yeah, but they're primarily Xbox. So going back to the original Xbox One was the original State of Decay.
Yeah. There's World's Edge. Is working on Age of Empires 4.
That's primarily PC though. I don't
Yeah.
but obviously it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Xbox Game Studios. They currently released Tell Me Why.
From Don't Not.
Yeah, so they have Don't Nod as their. Well, Don't Nod I think is like third party.
Yeah, because they still make games. Like their upcoming game is actually going to be available for the PS consoles as well. So they're not exactly exclusive to Xbox.
Right. Yeah. And of course,
But that particular game, Tell Me Why, is exclusive to Xbox.
Yeah. And of course, lastly, their recent acquisition. It's going to be Bethesda, id Software, and Arcane Studio. So it's going to be Starfield. They're currently working on Starfield. We mentioned that earlier. Elder Scrolls 6.
Potentially.
Yeah. Possibly Fallout 5 or Fallout
5,
New
yeah.
Vegas 2.
That'd be New Vegas 2 would be cool.
Yeah, the next Doom, Wolfenstein, and
maybe not so much like New Vegas, but maybe they do like a another New Vegas style, but somewhere else in the States.
Yeah, and then future Doom, future Wolfensteins, and also like Elder Scrolls Online too is now officially under Microsoft.
Oh yeah, yep.
Microsoft right now is like really, really strong. They're picking up all these
Yep.
studios, and they're probably trying to pick up more. So it's adding to the strength of their Xbox
To their library.
Yeah, the Game Pass membership.
With the addition of the Bethesda, does that make you want to get the Xbox Game Pass more than what you currently wanted before? Like, do you currently own the Xbox Game Pass? Like,
I don't actually, but I think I've mentioned before in one of our previous recordings. It's only like $15 a month, and you get access to all these games, and you get access to them day one release as well.
Mm-hmm.
With the way things are right now with COVID, people are unemployed, and not a lot of people are working. It might be too much to be able to buy like a $60 game, like maybe like a $15 a month, and then you'll just be able to play the game and beat it, and you're good. That sounds like a pretty good deal.
All right, guys, rolling to Talos Tidbits now. But before we get started, obviously next week will be the start of the October Horror Fest, so definitely get excited for us to get scared. But enough rambling. Let's roll into the first article here. As we mentioned before, we did watch a little bit of the Tokyo Game Show, but we will be talking about that more so next week when the entire weekend of the Tokyo Game Show has been presented, because it's unfair for us to kind of talk about something that's kind of still in the works. But one particular one that was announced that I did a live reaction for was Nier Replica version 1.22474487139. I don't know why the long title, but it's been announced with a release date coming to the West on April 2021. In some related Japanese news, there's also announced during the showcase, but the Xbox Series S has already got a price cut in Japan. Is there a price on here? It was originally priced at 32,980 yen, which is roughly $313, and it's now currently retail for 29,980 yen, which now it's about 285 US dollars in exchange rates. In Cyberpunk related news, looks like there's been updates on the campaign for 2077. It's saying that it's going to be much shorter. They didn't specify how much shorter, but it will be shorter in terms of the main campaign compared to Witcher 3. In Spider-Man Miles Morales news, it looks like we got the full, I guess, storage space for the Ultimate Edition, and it's a big one. It's 105 gigabytes. And of course, the 105 gigabytes includes both the Miles Morales as well as the remaster for the first Spider-Man game. It's some bad news in relationship to the Miles Morales. Sony confirmed that there will be no PS5 upgrade for those who purchase the PS4 Spider-Man. It looks like Nintendo took down a XXX Peach game years after its release. And I don't know. For those who had it, it might be worth something. I don't know. But I thought that was pretty funny, so we want to include it here in tidbits. But so we're saying it now. Metal Gear Solid, there's in terms of the original Metal Gear Solid, is in works for a full remake and potentially heading to PS5 and PC. For the Mass Effect series, it looks like it's reportedly titled the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and we're definitely excited for a Mass Effect remaster. The last tidbit, exciting for those who are fans of Star Wars and The Mandalorian. Looks like they're not slowing down anytime soon because now it looks like they're confirmed for season 3 and 4. So definitely excited. And of course, if you haven't already, the season 2 does come out in October. So definitely get excited and get hype for some Mandalorian and Star Wars. All right, guys, that pretty much includes Talos Tidbits. Obviously, everything that I talked about here will be in the description for you guys to check out for more details. But nevertheless, on to the main news.
Alrighty, moving into our last topic of the episode. Now, I mentioned earlier how Xbox Series X and S, the pre-orders did go up this week. And
Yes.
like everyone expected, it turned out to be just as messy as PlayStation 5's pre-orders.
Yeah, it was. And I definitely have personal experience with that, which we can discuss in a bit.
Yeah. So according to this IGN article, Xbox Series X and S pre-order seemingly crashes retailer websites. Almost all major US online retailers crash or error during demand for next-gen console. So yeah, Talos. Well, I wasn't planning on picking up the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox X. Not for a while anyway, so I didn't have to deal with any of these pre-order shenanigans, but Talos did try to secure his own pre-orders. You want to share your story?
All right. So okay, let's talk a little bit about the PlayStation debacle. Because obviously after our live reactions that we did for the PS5, we were told in the interview, or at least a tweet, that pre-orders will start the following day. And obviously, like I was gonna wait the following day, but it's a good thing I didn't, because as soon as, like, I want to say maybe an hour or so after the showcase, pre-orders started going live for Walmart, Target, I believe Amazon. The link for because they hid it, but someone leaked the link for Amazon, so that eventually went out to the public. And Best Buy, other places you could think of, and they were slowly starting to be sold out. Like I first called GameStop, they were sold out instantly, and I was like, I didn't get any phone calls saying their pre-orders were ready, because I basically the big thing with me was I made sure that I subscribed to to be notified that pre-orders were available, so I could just jump in there and get it. But I was never notified for any of the stuff that I did, to include GameStop. And so when I called GameStop, they were automatically sold out. I tried Best Buy. Like, for some reason, I couldn't even click on the pre-order for it. And then I went into Target. I was eventually able to secure the PS5, but I was lucky because we talked about this last week, where there is no bots really to kind of like initiate some of that purchases.
Yeah.
And so I believe I lucked out for the PS5 because I did it on the previous day versus waiting for the official 22nd or whatever that date was. Was it 22nd? No, it was 16th, I believe. Instead of wait for the 16th, or I forget the date. But yeah, so I didn't wait the next day. Now, when it comes to the Xbox showcase, and the 22nd was they announced like 2 weeks ahead of time that the pre-orders will start on the 22nd. So like Rivet predicted almost to a T, that basically bots will be pre-programmed into like purchase as soon as it goes live. And would you know it, it did, and crash multiple sites. So the big thing for me is I went to Target first because I thought that nobody's going to go to Target first, and I went to Target first and I put the item in my cart, and then I went to check out. I got an error message saying that it's not in my cart. It's like, what are you talking about? It's not in my cart. And so I had to like continuously re-add it back into my cart. And eventually, I want to say it was like 30, 45 minutes. Now I got the notification saying pre-orders are done. I was like, well, what are you talking about? Pre-orders are done. Like, so I was pretty frustrated with that debacle. And because I was frustrated with that, I was also on a different website, Amazon. Amazon was giving me issues. Like, it didn't even like load half the time. And then I want to say it was Best Buy. Best Buy had like that blank slate where it's like it says pre-order, but when you click pre-order, nothing's loading. And then if you go into the GameStop store, like they put you in this like queue in line, and you get this like ugly looking like picture. I think I have a link of that picture if you want to put that on the display here, Ribbon, of how the website looked, but nothing loaded. So nothing loaded. So I wasn't able to secure the Xbox Series X the same day of release, the 22nd. And of course, because I wanted to get the console pretty much at launch, I went to like OfferUp, or I went to eBay to see there's someone who's reasonably selling it for a decent price, but vast majority of them are trying to sell for like 800, 900, similar to the PS5 when everything was sold out for the PS5. But I was able to secure it the following day. I found someone who's actually willing to sell for me for a reasonable price, because he told me that he purchased it by mistake. Not really a mistake, because he wanted to surprise his friend for Christmas with the Series X, but it looks like that his friend already bought it. And so now he's just trying to sell and get his money back. And he was able to sell it to me at a fair price. So I was able to secure both consoles, but just the frustration of the Xbox Series X was really what drove the craziness in it.
Yeah, and I was all over Twitter, and then people were having pretty much the same reactions to it. Websites were crashing and they weren't able to lock in their order. Now, regarding the whole bot thing that Talos mentioned, like because the release date was announced like 2 weeks in advance, all the scalpers were able to program their bots to pre-order, the Xbox Series X and S on the day the pre-orders go up. Mm-hmm. So when the pre-orders,
and of course the one thing I didn't mention too is in the only website that limited to one console per person was the Microsoft Store. Everything else was not limited to a certain amount. So technically, someone could have bought 5 to 10 of the consoles and sell it out like much quicker. Yeah. So that was also very frustrating.
Yeah, so it's possible, like the website was crashed because like not only the amount of people but also the bots as well. Mm-hmm. And if you look here, I'm gonna put it up on the screen right now. I typed in Xbox Series X on eBay, and we already have a couple of Series X pre-orders up. This first listing is $870. This one is like $949. $850. This one, for some odd reason, it's like over $1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's insane.
And just to kind of caveat on that, like there was an article that they posted that saying that they confirmed that there won't be another like phase run before the launch of the console. So if you wanted to grab your Xbox Series S or X, you have to wait the launch date, which is I think November 10th.
Yeah.
To potentially get it. Whereas for the PS5, they are planning one more wave, and I think is actually available at the recording of today. If not, maybe tomorrow or later this weekend.
So funny enough, this thing got so bad that the people have been accidentally buying the current Xbox console right now, when they really mean to buy the next gen console. It's definitely part of it is definitely Xbox's fault for naming their consoles kind of similarly, but at the same time, this whole like limited supply thing has gotten people so I guess like everyone's not thinking correctly, and they just like start pre-ordering whatever they can get their hands on, not knowing that this is the current gen console that they're accidentally ordering.
And honestly, it's not really I wouldn't say it's wholly 100% Microsoft or Sony's fault. It's obviously, of course, the current pandemic having around the world, where like we knew about this was going to happen. We knew there was going to be a limitation during the initial launch for these consoles for 2020.
Yeah.
But we didn't know how bad it was going to be until it actually went live.
Yeah, it's funny too, since like Microsoft poked fun of Sony's
Yeah.
order mess, so now it sort of blew up in their faces.
Yeah, big time. It's a little bit of a good news for Microsoft because they did break some records in terms of their sales for this console. So whether it be for the hype behind it or the whole fact that that's limited, but it kind of feels like in terms of the console war so far, it looks like it might be a tie. I don't know, like because they're both selling consoles at an equally fast rate.
Yeah, it's definitely in demand. It's and we didn't doubt it for a second. Like Xbox does have like a really good thing going for them, and now that they've acquired, but now that they acquired Zenimax Studios, it's just much more attractive now.
Agreed.
And we predicted this already. Like despite people being unemployed, despite the pandemic, people are still inside their houses. So
they're bored. They want to do something, get their mind off of the world out there.
Exactly. So they're going to be spending whatever money they have on games, just to make things like just a little bit more brighter. Let's talk about the current controversy right now with the expandable storage.
Yeah.
Now here's this article here. The Xbox Series X expandable storage will cost $219.99.
That's expensive, dude.
Yeah.
For 1 terabyte of extra space.
Yeah. So this is like one of the unfortunate things about the Xbox Series X. Their thing is their expandable hard drive is proprietary. I was hoping it would be, you can just get any kind of generic hard drive to expand it.
Could you not do that anymore then?
I don't think so. You would have to buy the Xbox hard drive.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's been causing.
Why would they change it? Because like in the previous console, you can plug in even with the PS4, you can plug in whatever third party storage you want.
Okay, let's take a look at the article here.
Okay.
Price for 1 terabyte of expandable storage on Microsoft Xbox Series X and S consoles has finally been revealed, and it's a whopping $220. That's about like 2/3 the price of the Xbox Series S. That's based on the listing that recently went up over at Best Buy.
Oh, it looks like the expandable storage is for both the Series X and S.
Yeah. Manufactured by Seagate, the proprietary expansion card comes with 1 terabyte of extra SSD storage. Microsoft told Verge that additional sizes from the other suppliers will be available in the future. Okay, so they might come out with a 1.5 and a 2 terabyte as well.
Which are probably even more expensive. Holy shit.
Yeah. To put the card price in perspective, $220 is more than the Switch Lite and only $80 shy of the total price of the Xbox Series S.
Yes.
Microsoft's cheaper next-gen console that foregoes 4K graphics and only has 5.12 gigabytes of internal SSD storage compared to the Xbox X's 1 terabyte. If you want to upgrade the Series S's internal storage, you'll basically have to pay $520, more than the price of an Xbox Series X or a console that doesn't support 4K. So yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with this proprietary hard drive.
That's terrible.
So yeah, you might as well just buy the Xbox Series X then.
Yeah, that's terrible.
No one is gonna buy the Series S after this, unless because we talked about it before. 500 gigabytes isn't enough now.
Yeah, it really isn't, dude.
A lot of games are like over 100 gigs.
If you wanted to get the Miles Morales game, it's 105 gigs by itself.
Yeah.
And
the 512 and the 512. I mean, that's not even counting like the operating system.
And I think Call of Duty is like 200 gigs.
Yeah. Yeah, so like at most, right, you can only have like maybe 3 or 4 games like installed on your Series S. You'd have to be, like uninstalling and then reinstalling.
And that's annoying because installing a game takes forever too.
Yeah. So I don't know what Microsoft is thinking with this whole like approach here with this. They should have just made it so that you can use like a generic hard drive.
The very last paragraph here may help justify why they did this because it says here there's been some speculation that next gen games may be smaller on average than their counterparts on PS4 and Xbox One. But we don't know that for sure. we already got confirmation of the Miles Morales and how big those are. Even though it is 2 games in one, that's still a lot. 105 gigs for 2 games.
Doesn't make any sense though. How would a more advanced game
be smaller, right? Yeah, exactly. And of course, they're doing ray tracing. They're doing all this extra stuff, 4K.
Yeah.
There's no way this is accurate. I really hope you can still use an external third party, but that was all. I was hoping it kind of extend for another terabyte, but I don't know. We'll definitely have to wait and see, because I definitely want confirmation on that.
Yeah.
If you could still use a third party storage, because if you remember, PS4 when it was initially released, they didn't allow third party external hard drives.
Yeah.
But they added a patch or something. I want to say it's a 1.5 patch, if I remember exactly, where you can actually use a third party external.
Yeah.
So it took a little while, but eventually they enabled it, and I believe it's just a click of a switch or something. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. But like right now, Microsoft definitely. I feel like they hurt the sales of their Series S with this move.
Agreed.
Alrighty, that's it for the news for now. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned. We'll try to keep you guys updated on developing stories. And as usual, if you enjoyed the video, you can always support us by liking and subscribing. Were you guys able to secure your Xbox Series S and X pre-orders? Also, what other game studios do you think Microsoft will be picking up in the future?
And also, guys, don't forget that we do stream ourselves every Tuesdays, Fridays, and Sundays on our Twitch. Be sure to give us a follow, hang out with us, talk about games and your your thoughts on everything that we talked about here. Hope we see you there.
Studley signing out. See you guys later.
Later, guys.